So Dr. Brené Brown, Dr. Gabor Mate. These are two other names that were incredibly important in my research. And although I really, most of it is focused on the ethics of care and female leadership in education, you will see their work being cited in my work. And the reason being because Brené Brown, she talks about the power of vulnerability and how shame shapes our experiences, trauma, and how stories hold the power of tapping into human data and our personal patterns of behavior. So all of those things, she did it through a Western lens, but they were quite timeless. I mean, coming from South America, we have other authors that have been writing in many other different times in history that have said pretty much the same thing. She happens to be in vogue right now, and so it's a good resource to be tapping into if you're going to create a platform for storytelling. Dr. Gabor Mate talks about the myth of normal that we've created in Western societies. He talks about how addiction comes from truly a lack of belonging and lack of social context and social connect. And, you know, the mythical or mystical power of the unknown forces in the universe, and how many cultures that are not Western cultures have made room for that. And the ability to connect and heal through circles. So these are two names that were very important in my research. You know, think about it, when you're trying to think of a format and structuring a platform for storytelling, these are two really important voices out there saying important things. And what I did was basically just say, yep, they're saying this, so I'm going to bank on it and build on it. During my master's, I actually had a classmate in one of my courses who was a First Nations woman and was working at a correctional facility at the time. And her job, as fascinating as it may sound to Western people, it was actually very healing, and it's about restorative justice. She would interview the inmates, analyze their story, and then return it back to them saying, you know, I think this is where you got disconnected and severed from the circle. This is where she would identify and mirror back the trauma so that they were able to then start looking into their stories through her lens and how she listened, so that they would then understand where they had been severed. You know, we were just taking this class together, and I thought, this is brilliant, and it aligns with everything that I've been studying. I decided to adapt and do that on my own story, and I decided for, many years, in the last 6 years of my life, to fine-comb my memories and fine-comb at what point did I break? At what point was I hurting? And try to heal that trauma. When you think about Feminine Harbor as a structure, what I created has mainly, at this point, I was able to carry 3 main initiatives. One was the presence in social media, where I would share articles by people that were representing my vision. So often in my Facebook account or my Instagram account through Feminine Harbor, you will find articles by Gabor Mate or Brené Brown, or people who reflect that kind of research, or women in positions of leadership that reflect all of those values that I've shared in the last segment. Women who are leading through a human paradigm and a lens of, social justice, a lens of learning, a lens of trust in themselves or faith. So you will find, for example, I'm a huge fan of Jacinda Ardern, because she also is creating a circle and an ecosystem. She looks at people, not just the structure. And so I was able to carry on with my social media, to create also a book club where we then read women like Brené Brown. And it's a curated book club focusing mainly and primarily on the importance of these values. And so we read women like Michelle Obama. We read, books on menstruation. We read books about healing as far as, what that looks like for women specifically. So that curation is a huge aspect of Feminine Harbor, so that, again, we can isolate the hurt or the addiction of patriarchy. That's how I decided to, looking at Gabor Mate, I decided to treat patriarchy in my life as a harmful substance. And if I could get rid of that and what it was hurting me, then what was left? And the other aspect is the light stories, which is an evening of storytelling and live music, again, creating a sense of community and belonging, and a circle in which women can come and share. But the way I designed it tries to amplify these circles because of the diversity component that is embedded in that design. And I'll be talking about that just a little bit further down into these series of videos. So that's how I decided to use that research and create a structure that reflected it.